The new Mighty Doom update has a lot of changes that people don't realize they weren't mentioned, and one that I really want to have fixed. I'm going to explain why it needs it here in just a minute. Now, the gameplay you're seeing on the right is super funny actually, because I accidentally got into this level with a level 1 common chain gun. So watch me suffer as we talk about these changes. The first thing I want to mention to you is that you can skip the boss intros and glory kills by double tapping the screen, so you no longer have to watch those anymore, which is really cool. Now we take a look at the Slayers, and things have changed around here. We have two new ones we'll get to here in just a second. You know what, why don't we start there? So this is the Hailfire Slayer, and you see things are already way out the gate different. Argent requirements are lowered, which loot itself has been impacted negatively. We'll talk about that. A couple new skins. Now, level 70 is the new cap here, and a lot of people, like myself, got bumped up retroactively with the XP that we already had, but if you didn't, and you didn't go past 60 and you should have, contact support. Right now, I am 69. Nice. So anyway, we have new things down here. Level 70 is a cap instead of 80. We have ability upgrades at 1, 30, and 60. So for example, this guy is all about the elementals, and his elemental ability gets better with time, and levels rather. And you see that he has shards here, which you get in battle from chapter 3 and onward, or you can get them for 3,000 crystals for 200. This is how you access this Slayer, so you can get him free, or paying will help get him a little bit quicker as well. We also have the Zombie Slayer. Now his shards come from events. So any type of event, that's how you get it. You can get anywhere from 1 to 4 shards, it just depends. It doesn't seem to matter how high or low the levels are. You just fight whatever level you can, that's the best one for shards for you to get. Zombie Slayer reanimates after death. I was told by player Zilla, who started with 50,000 HP, that he was able to revive 4 times at 16,000, with less health, of course, and less movement speed, meaning he had around 64k after revive. It's not that great of a perk, it seems, but on paper it might sound good, but in practice it is not. So he has reduced movement speed, more health, so that could even be at the level 60 way too. We'll have to see as time goes on. Mini Slayer has some upgrades too, to kill the enemies faster with the headshot, and you can go on to Crimson, got a buff as well. We have more damage, more bonus damage, and the threshold in which Fury is triggered. Now keep in mind, this mini health upgrade, the max health from the Slayer, is fixed now. This was bugged, you wouldn't get the max 1% across all your Slayers, now you do, which is awesome. So definitely upgrade those other Slayers. I have 3 Slayers at 69. Again, nice, and nice. So we're coming over here to Classic Slayer. He got a buff, totally got a buff, because after taking damage, you got that immunity, and I believe someone said it was 4 seconds long, cooldown of 20 seconds, didn't reset between rooms, and you have increased immunity duration of tough, and then it triggers before a hit to prevent the initial damage. There is a typo in initial, but that's okay. So he's better now. Gold Slayer, I have heard people say that it doesn't trigger as much for his ability, but you can see that kills have a chance to recharge secondary, increase the chance that it triggers, and triggering Magician will increase the damage of your next secondary weapon attack. Super good if you have like a Gauss or something. Now of course Bunny is a little bit better too. You have a random health pack that was already there. It happens more often and more damage from the random health and grenade, so all the Slayers got a boost there. We have some new enemies. We have a Carcass boss. Yes, it's a little bit different than Eternal, not the same. He has his shield starting out with the boss. He shoots a little flinging rays that bounce off the walls. You have the Cyber Mancubus, who comes in as a boss, not a regular enemy, with a goo attack that goes all around. You want to make like a big LU shape for it. It's pretty tricky to avoid. Classic Slayer comes in handy there. And then he has like a Priest meteor attack, so you want to get in close, get that damage in while you can there. There's also a green Cacodemon, like a Cyber Cacodemon from Under the Mayo, that gives you corrosion, which slows you down a little bit, I feel like, and it weakens your attack. So definitely a tough thing to watch out for. They're pretty tanky as well. Masteries got updated. We now have level 70 as the max, and apparently some of these have different levels from one another. Again, I'm level 69, nice. Some not the max level for Invigorating Boon, which gives you 11% of max health where I am now, every time you get an ability during a run, basically. Now the events have also scaled up. Since we have a new max level, the events are harder. The Zombunny is quite a bit more of a challenge than he used to be, which is interesting to see, and the Zombunnies themselves take a couple hits from my epic heavy cannon level 80, and they're just pretty tough. They almost die to one shot, so I just need a little bit more damage for that actual. I have UAC gear, so naturally it's not actually raw damage, it's after the secondary. It appears that loot got nerfed. The Hell on Earth 1 and 2 levels have a little bit less coinage action here, and then the UAC facility will take a look at its loot as well. Now, it's a little bit easier to go through because you have the boss skips, and you also have better gear and abilities now, so I can take it down in about 6.5 minutes or so. This is important for later, don't forget that. But the loot has been decreased, which is kind of unfortunate, and it's definitely worth talking about with my next point. Because we're looking at around an average of 10,500 coins for map Hell on Earth 2. It's down to around 9,200 now, and there was a report that map 1 was taken from about 8,800 to 7,900. So a little bit smaller loot, less Argent energy, but again, the Argent energy from the Slayers, it's less now. Instead of having 10 per level increase, you have about 7, which is nice. It's like a 30% change, which is pretty massive. The shotgun grenade perk is now fire instead of just explosive or whatever else have you, so that's a bit of a minor change there. The gold skin itself, if you took a look at him, I have silver because gold was pretty tough as far as the design earlier. Better now in the gold skin. Not as traditional, but better. There was a report that Hell on Earth 1 bosses have less health. I have not verified this. This was just a report I saw on Discord, so we could look in further into that. Previously, the Exulsion Gauntlet damage bonus for bosses was bugged. It is now fixed. 32 and 40% for rare and epic is pretty nasty. However, I'd rather have a boost for the entire rest of the level instead of just those 4 bosses. The ballista gets stuck, the rocket launcher too, and I've heard reports of someone having their ballista, rocket launcher, Gauss all get stuck when he was using, I believe, an uncommon combat shotgun. Let me know if you've seen that bug as well. Hopefully we can get that fixed. The close to wall rocket launcher bug is still there, unfortunately, but the chain gun super spin up bug has been fixed. Now, the bosses and things, you can't cheese the Mancubus in the same way, so that's been changed where you can't just make him jump repeatedly. And speaking of, if you go into a first arena and you get a bad set of rolls, you want to reset it. Previously, you could quit out your app and bring the fight back up and you'll get a new set of rolls. That has been patched out to where what you get is what you get, and if you don't like it, you just have to deal with it. So here's the big thing that needs fixed. Now, work with me here. So, I used to farm Hell on Earth 1 versus 2 because I didn't have max gear, I had rares, and I got more loot per the time spent versus 2 gave me more loot for the energy spent. So if I had more spare time, 2 was a better pick because I got the better loot per energy. Eventually, when I got up to my max epics, Hell on Earth 2 was the better pick for the time, the energy, the loot, because you can only go so much faster because you still have the menus and the abilities that you need to go through, even if you can just wipe out a room. Here's the problem. UAC Facility is harder, which is fine. It takes longer to beat, which is also fine. You're looking at about 6.5 minutes for Hell on Earth 2, about 10-ish for UAC Facility. It took me about 12 with the level 1 common chain gun that you see on the screen there, which is also fine because it's the next level. It should be harder, it should be longer. That's what she said. Now, the problem lies in the loot. As we take a look at the picture on the screen here, we see Hell on Earth 2 loot with the nerf as opposed to UAC Facility. If you look, UAC Facility is less good. That means it's harder, it's longer, and it is just tougher, and you get less loot. This does not reward the player to play. What's the incentive? Because your effort is higher, but your payout is lower. The Battle Pass tokens are ripped in half because there's fewer stages, whereas it used to be Necrovol had full Battle Pass, almost 50, and it had 20 stages. So you get half the Battle Pass tokens, the loot on the coins is generally less, and we can see the item difference here as well. Why would the player play the newest map when it's just better, harder, better, faster, stronger, Daft Punk reference, to play the one under it? Now, I believe the UAC Facility for me in my current gear is farmable. Takes a little bit longer like Hell on Earth 2 used to, similar situation, but now even if I farm it, as I should be able to, it's not worth it for me. Now, of course, if a level is fun, by all means play it. I'll probably stream the level, so subscribe if you haven't to watch that, and also, I'll just play it just for fun sometimes. But if I just want pure farming loot, why? And it's unfortunate, and I trust the devs. I stand behind them, believing that they will make changes as needed, fix bugs. Gotta just stick in it there. We've only been out for 1 month global release. I just hope that we get a little bit of a bump. They brought the other levels down probably because people were pushing too hard, because we've been farming a lot, honestly, here, but it's just not enough to incentivize the player to play that next map. These are the top 13 worst mistakes beginners make in Mighty Doom. I see it a lot and it's really holding people back. Click the video on your screen so you do not miss out on that, and check the Discord link in the description so you can join our Discord for free tips and build advice for myself, and we got some other experts in the Discord. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you there. I'm Austin.